My name's Byron Kennedy. I'm the CEO of SPEE3D. SPEE3D is an Australian manufacturing company, and we actually make metal 3D printers. So these are large systems which are exported globally all around the world. One of our primary markets is defence, but we do a lot in what we call critical industries. So those industries which are critical to a nation, think about mining, oil and gas, semiconductors. That's really what this technology is developed for, being used for, and some of the applications that we'll talk about as we go along today. These machines, they make metal parts. And 3D printing has all sorts of advantages that can be offered in the sustainability area. So some of the obvious ones, which you probably heard about from other people, are things about reduction of materials. So instead of getting a big billet of material, machining it out and wasting a lot of material, you can optimize it and you can produce the parts with very little waste. So that's relatively known in the industry, and it is something that's very important from both a sustainability and a cost perspective. So if you can get both of those things, lower cost, better sustainability, of course, that is what we're all after. But let me now sort of digress and talk about some of the specific advantages of SPEE3D. So one of the systems that we sell is a deployable system. So what I mean by that is you can pick it up and take it into the field. So think of a defence site, think of a mine site. You are a mile away from anywhere. You cannot manufacture in a traditional method those parts where you are. Think of a mine site in the middle of the Australian desert, and there's a pulley, you break your pulley. Now that site could be running at $1 million an hour. So they've got to get that up and running, and they might have to ship that part in from Texas. So they might hire a jet to get that part all the way to the Australian desert, to put it on there to get that running. Now imagine the CO2 emissions from bringing that one part all the way from Texas. So now let's swap to the future. Let's swap to the time where you can actually build your own parts on site. And that's what this technology that we've developed and are selling now enables you to do. So you can take it to your mine site, you can take it to the front line in a defence application. You can take it wherever you are. You can take it to Antarctica. You can build your own parts where you are. And this is really providing various advantages. You know, one is a cost advantage, but really in the sustainability side is reducing the emissions associated with shipping and transportation of parts all around the world. So two real benefits that I've highlighted here. One, reduction of materials, and then two, let's stop the waste and let's stop the associated emissions with transportations of parts all around the world. Yeah, so it's something we looked at, roughly 12 months ago. We said, how can we justify to ourselves and our customers that this is a sustainable process? Now, internally, we didn't have the skills and resources to do that. So we've actually collaborated with a couple of universities in Australia, Swinburne and Darwin University. And what we asked them to do is to say, right, let's do a case study. Let's look at a part and say, right, if we were going to traditionally manufacture that, what's the CO2 emissions? What's the energy emissions? And then if we're going to do it with this process, what's the difference? So we looked at that and they did the study and they came back and it was 60% less CO2 and 33% less energy. So these were two critical numbers now which we can use to say we have got independent verification that this technology is environmentally friendly versus traditional manufacturing. That to us was very important to get this external validation, being able to collaborate with universities who have the skill, who have the knowledge to be able to do that. Not many companies have that in-house, so being able to collaborate with universities and research institutes in this area, super important for credibility for both us and for the industry. For us, AMGTA enables us to look more broadly outside Australia even. So we've done our study in Australia, but AMGTA is a global organisation looking at this from a global situation, bringing in experts, peers, competitors, suppliers, into an organisation where you can talk about these issues on a global basis, not just a local basis. So I would say for us, it's really having that global exposure and having a diverse range of inputs and opinions. You may not agree with everyone, but you certainly want to have that discussion, and especially around the environmental side of manufacturing, which is becoming more and more important. So let me talk about my background a little bit. Prior to getting involved in AM technology, I was involved in a lot of casting applications. So casting is a traditional way to manufacture metal parts. However, the casting process is difficult. It's been around for 5,000 years, but there is issues with safety, there's issues with quality, there's issues with cost. So the question is, could we do that better? And that really is where we started this company, and that's really where the technology came from. So moving forward, the ability to replace more and more casting, not just on a cost advantage and a sustainability advantage as well, but you've got to look at the last aspect, which is around safety and about really changing the way we making parts across a much broader industry and across the world.
We want to share a huge thank you with AMGTA and its members for taking part in these conversations. You can watch the series at mansus.co.